So we're looking at the worst game ever. This is totally the worst game ever. Angry commentary watchers for the most worstest game ever.
I'm angry.
I'm
Rawr.
so angry. Yeah.
I own this game as a kid.
Yes, isn't it the worst game ever? And you play for like a second, and then your heart stops working from the rage, and this being the most worstest game ever.
What I remember about playing this game is that me and my cousin were like, it's really funny when Bubsy dies, so we just kept running around and getting killed.
Yeah. So I don't actually think this game is all that bad. It's not good. It's not great. It's not that bad.
Yeah,
The series gets bad. But this first game, it's not particularly good, but it's not the worst game ever.
I think I've got controversial takes on all three of these games. I say all three because there's a Jaguar game, and I don't care about it. But yeah, it's a game. It's platforming. It's hard.
It's. I don't want to excuse it because it is the biggest flaw is that Bubsy is way too fragile. There's too many hazards that will kill him, and he can also move. If you just run on a flat surface, he can move faster than Sonic, which really goes to show why the ring system in Sonic is such a good idea. Because as long as you got one ring, and it's not like a squash or a bottomless pit, you'll be fine. You can be reckless as long as you have at least one ring.
Oh, I'm
Bubsy
glad we
can't do that.
found our way to the start of the stage.
Well, you got all those yarn balls. Very, very important. He also starts with. I like him starting with 9 lives, which is both obviously a pun with him being a cat, but also the fact that you need 9 lives because you will just chew through those immediately. Like 3, like most platforms, will not be enough.
Yeah, no, it's just...
What a weird invincibility music.
Oh, there's 2 of them. There's one that damages enemies. This one, and then there's the one that's like the shadow one that doesn't injure enemies. I don't know why they need both.
I have no idea. It's, if you want the stealth or the kill. The good ending or the bad ending.
Oh, cool. We found the blood tubes.
Yeah, so it's funny that this game, I think, came with a comic in the instruction manual.
Yes.
Of course it did.
And it had its own, like, cartoon show.
It had a pilot.
A pilot, yeah. It didn't actually take off because,
where he was voiced by Rob Paulson, who's surprisingly high profile to be voicing Bubsy.
I mean, you got those actors doing, like, just a lot of random
Oh, I mean, he
things
did a lot of shit. No, I'm not saying he's too good for that, but I'm just saying he's... I mean, we all know him as Grey Fox from Metal Gear Solid, the Twin Snakes. The definitive, the only voice of Grey Fox. The guy from Animaniacs.
This game is just... It is... Like, it has flaws.
It is mediocre platformer. Ahoy!
Yeah.
I think that's the key word, mediocre, because if you actually... People, when they talk about retro games, they tend to only remember the really good ones and, like, the really bad ones. And there's no, like, real extremes. If you compare this to, like, most platformers that were released the same year, this is probably maybe even slightly above average with its production values and things like that.
Oh yeah.
Like, this game is not terrible.
It has this weird reputation because of its sequels, I think.
And it's also got it kind of has the Garfield thing of being a character that's kind of obviously one was successful, the other one wasn't, but like Bubsy was made to be like merchandisable and have cartoons and things like that.
The main character kind of.
Well, I mean, okay, Garfield wasn't made for that, but that's yeah. I mean, okay, Garfield wasn't made for that, but it just kind of happened, and the creator just kind of ran with it because he was honest, he wants money.
I mean, basically, what I said about this thing having a comic book in the instruction manual, and then making a cartoon pilot, despite the fact that this game I don't think was that popular.
No, they were definitely trying. It's like when you feel when something's being pushed in marketing.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whereas,
Like-
Garfield never, I mean, it got pushed after it took off, which is a lot more forgivable because, you're not trying to make a thing work. You're like, hey, this works. Let's, run with it.
Yeah, this is a lot of like we're trying to make something that's popular.
And especially that the character isn't like it doesn't inform the initial character design unless you're like trying from the very beginning, obviously. Like Garfield is just, it's a cat. Bad cat.
Yeah, that's a really bad comparison. Now I've said it and then I broke it down. I was like, actually, that doesn't make a lick of sense.
Shit.
They do kind of remind me of each other, like just.
I could see it, but there is definitely a difference in the initial outing. Like this is very much a cynical kind of design.
Look how fast he can move, but like an obstacle can come up absolutely nowhere, like that, and then you hit the back of that car and you die.
Yep.
They were really hooked on Sonic.
Hooked on Sonics.
Oh yeah, and the momentum, like it carries. It's Sonic GBA all over again. It's
there's this weird thing
momentum.
With a glide, like when you're gliding, you can like 180 your momentum just on a dime for some weird reason.
Yeah, and it carries over. It's really weird. Yeah, and there's certain things that just increase like horizontal momentum just exponentially, and the way you can manipulate it with the glide is so weird. Like I actually know how to play this, but there's like a learning curve to adapt to how weird it is.
It's not like completely like uncontrollable though. Like I think if you master it, it's actually not bad, but it is very unintuitive. Like you don't.
That's the word.
You would not have expected him to perform the way he does, but like when you get good at it, it's like not bad. It's mostly just the fact that because you can get so much speed, and you don't have a lot of like good like visuals or like your camera. It actually does move the camera forward, but it isn't really like enough sometimes.
Not enough. This would benefit from like one of those widescreen remake ports.
Oh jeez.
Someone wants to make that. It's just so fragile.
At the same time, yeah, like, and then Bubsy kind of gets memed on. It's like, oh, this is just either the worst thing ever, and it's like, no, it's just it's kind of up its own ass, but it's like, it's fine. This one game.
Yeah, this one, it's. I'm trying to think of other examples that, like the first game was decent, and then someone just got like really bad.
I feel like that's happened a lot.
Yeah, I guess.
I mean, you could say kind of the same thing with.
Oh, that thing scared the shit out of me when I was a kid. I didn't own this game, but I did have a friend, a neighbor who did. Yeah, there's something about that piano that scared the shit out of me when I was a kid. You're just running alongside it. It's a bit like Tasmania.
Yeah, it's just a
should do as well.
Mess. Oh god, yeah. Yeah.
I like there's a crate that's just an anvil, and it's just a block. It's just. I don't get it. Like
you can't break it because there's an anvil inside it. It's too hard to break. You know, when you put an anvil in a box, you can't break the box. That's how boxes work.
Yeah. But it's just like, it's just a tile, it's just an object that you can stand on. It's weird. Also the collectibles like in abundance, like look, and they don't reset over 100, which is interesting.
Well, you don't get lives from that, I don't think.
You do, he's got 15 now.
Wait, really? I don't remember.
Well, you need to make sure you get that big bonus at the end of the stage.
I will say it's satisfying.
Oh yeah, and of course there's all the puns and stuff. It's very obnoxious.
So one thing I just don't even think about anymore, because I played this game as a kid. Why does jumping on that very specific branch send you skyward?
I kind of get what the logic is, where like the branch like kind of slingshots back after you weigh it down, but it's like very
It's not really
odd.
conveyed though.
Yeah,
it's not animated though.
Yeah, it's conveyed very strangely in that they didn't bother.
One thing I do like about this game is that the levels are huge. Like that's very Sonic-esque.
Oh yeah,
There's a lot of vertical space, although it does become a problem later. Particularly the carnival level we'll see next. I think the music's alright as well.
Same.
I wouldn't like say it's like best video game soundtracks or anything, but it's catchy. It doesn't need to be much more than that.
Okay.
I don't know if we're gonna see it. There's a weird effect on some of those log flume things where if you ride it and it like flips upside down, it flips the entire world upside down. It's very odd.
See, this game's quite generous with the lives and stuff, but if you're just playing this for the first time, you will burn through those so quickly. I mean, I don't know if we're going to see any deaths in this. Like, that's it's strange that it may sound a big part of the game's marketing was the death animations, like it's a friggin' Amiga game or something. Because he has like quite elaborate cartoony deaths, very dependent on the way he dies.
Oh, you could die from fall damage, by the way.
Yeah, I forgot to mention that. I forgot how weird that is. See, a lot of this game I just kind of take for granted, and I forget how weird it is.
Hold it. Wow.
I think you could still die if you're gliding too. Like if you actually somehow get enough momentum, you will die.
There's an animation if you hit a wall moving fast enough, you will do this like really long, unskippable animation of him being knocked out, and then he's unconscious, and then stars form over his head, and he swats them away, and then he stands up, and it takes like 10 seconds.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. There's also, we'll probably not even see it. There's an emulator that throws out projectiles, and if they hit him, actually there's a couple enemies that do this. He does like a weird animation where he turns all white. I don't quite get it. And then he goes back to normal and you keep playing. It's like a weird non-death for some reason.
Jesus, this game. I kind of like the art design.
It's fine, yeah.
I mean, it's not, like, nothing to write home about, but it's not done poorly either. This game seems like these are not treasure bosses.
No.
Look at how many exclamation marks we have.
Yeah, I think his design is just, like, very meme-worthy.
It's just obnoxious.
I mean, look at that life icon. That is the smuggest fucking expression.
We've kind of been talking over them as well, but every single level has a unique voice line intro, so he just said, better not blow your hair back. I'm going to try and do his goddamn voice. So this is when the game gets a little bit tough. Not quite there, but...
The ice cream cones I mentioned, or that's the one of the enemies I mentioned, if they hit you, you don't die, for some reason.
You get ice creamed.
Yeah, you get creamed.
So yeah, one invulnerability kills enemies, the other one lets you just walk through them. I don't know why they both exist. Oh god, so yeah, these slopes on the roller coaster tracks, this is where you really like start to experience the weird momentum the game has.
I think it's like the camera moves left and right, but it doesn't move up and down. So like whenever you're falling, you have no idea where you're going, and whenever you're going up those up or down those roller coasters, like, you'll gain and lose height so fast, and you'll have no idea what's coming.
This is one of those cases where long play is not really adequately showing what a true experience of this game would be like. Because I'm presuming they're using save states or rewinds or something, because you cannot last this long without dying unless you're some sort of masochist who's like knows these levels like the back of their hands, which is hard to do because considering how big they are.
Yeah.
The Bubsy speedrunning scene.
Because I know Sonic well enough to like jump at certain points where you wouldn't intuitively jump, And you can do that in this game as well if you've played it enough, but... Again, one hit and you're dead.
From most
And also
things.
another thing I think is well designed about Sonic is, you know, as long as he's in a ball and he goes into an enemy that's not like spiked or something,
Yeah.
he'll destroy it. It's not Mario. You don't have to be this bit. You don't have to be precise with Sonic's jumps. You more jump into them rather than on them.
On them, yeah.
But this one you have to be like Mario style precise. You have to definitely land on top of them.
So I'm 90% sure of this, but I may be misremembering. If you're on those roller coasters and they go over a ledge, it doesn't matter that there's ground below you, you will die. Like, you just instantly do, like, a animation that's just like, oh, game over, and then you just die.
It's like a Looney Tunes, like, oh, nothing under me anymore. Nothing underneath me anymore. Ah!
Yeah, it's like, it doesn't show that there's just ground under you, and you would be fine. It just kills you.
Bubsy, it just kills you.
Kinda, yeah.
What are the bad guys called? The Woolies.
Woolies, yeah.
Because they like...
Yarn,
trying to take
your yarn. Mars needs women, cats need yarn balls.
I guess.
Yeah, that's about all you're getting for story, but, you know, what'd you expect?
It's not Awesome Possum. I'll give it that. Oh, let's, next level, we'll try and actually listen for the, intro, the witty pun he'll have for us.
Oh boy, I can't wait.
If we count all these hundreds of yarn balls.
One at a time. Oh, okay.
Totally worth it. I mean, you know, Elvis, carnivals, that, what? I mean, there's a lot of levels and a lot of voice lines. They're surprisingly clear, all things considered.
I do like how this is very much like, oh, this is, you know, for kids, let's make a bunch of puns in reference to things that they would never have heard of.
Well... I don't think Elvis is that obscure.
Well, that one, sure.
We'll have to keep listening to them, because I know they get kind of weird. I won't spoil it, but there's like the one for the final levels is pretty funny.
Oh yeah.
Legitimately. They've not for the reasons they intended. I really like this level in terms of design. You know, I mean, like, a carnival level is nothing new, and I think in terms of aesthetic, this is pretty well done. You got like the sideshows at the bottom, and you got this weird roller coaster track at the top.
Yeah, and there's a lot of different ways to actually go through them, or at least two. I won't give it that much credit, but there is at least, like, a ground and an upper area.
Yeah. Look how easy it is to die.
Yeah, I'm surprised we didn't die there.
I'm sure you save Satan as. One of those things that if you play it on like emulation, it is way more tolerable. If you try and play this on actual hardware, then ugh.
Yeah.
Also, those doors that just are like utterly random, and well, they're not literally random, but you never know whether
Door maze, you know.
take you forward. Yeah, you never know if they're gonna you're gonna progress or not.
Speak too soon.
I know what's coming up on this level. A bit where you're forced to use them. It's a nice parallax in the background there. I mean, it's not Sonic good, but you know what it is.
Yeah, for the game that's the worst thing ever, you know. There's a lot of nice things about it.
I can say plenty of nice things about this game. It is far from the worst thing ever. Which again, I cannot say for the sequel.
Oh yeah,
I feel like the discourse got me.
You get a lot of air off jumping on those eggs for some reason. Why?
Yeah, well, obviously. You know, eggs are full of helium.
Has to do with the carnival, I guess.
So, what's the deal with that little wig things they're wearing. Like, what's the theme there? Oh, let's listen to the next line. Yeah, I mean they came out. They came out swinging with his personality, didn't they?
I think they're supposed to be like propeller hats or something, but like,
Are they?
I think it looks weird though.
Yeah, that's what I
Like
saw.
toupees, but
Oh, not really. No, they're like.
clown wigs. Well, not when the clown wig would be like an afro kind of shape, wouldn't it?
I just know that whenever they do their like quote unquote attack, it like spins around in circles, I think. It's
A lot of
weird.
them have a habit of spawning these objects like the cheese wheels.
Like that section right there, it just looks like I was playing fucking Incredible Machine and just spamming slopes everywhere, trying to figure out what
Oh,
to
yeah.
get.
Oh god, I can see that. Yeah.
Get Bubsy home. Avoid the alligator.
Take in mind whenever you step on one of those slopes, like the physics are so strange.
Oh, they are, yeah. That's why that like jagged section back there with all the holes in between is like kind of obnoxious. Speaking of, this is a forced part of the level,
Yeah.
level 3. It is in fact a teleport door maze.
I feel like we've seen a few of these recently, but
It's not as bad as the one in Gex. Which I haven't done that video, so I don't know why I brought that up.
Because door maze.
Yeah.
see these fireworks? They're just like jumpable enemies, obviously.
But don't hit me at the wrong angle, otherwise you'll just die.
It's interesting to get the woolies, but you also get like a ton of inanimate objects to fight.
It's video gamey.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. I just find it strange that the ice cream and hot dogs kill them. Funny sound effects as well.
Or is it like going crazy? I don't know. These designs are weird.
The Yarn Collection's sound is surprisingly subdued.
It's kind of satisfying though.
You use the wrong one and it's annoying. Use one that's too subtle, you don't even notice this happening. This is a good balance.
I like those enemies attacking you while you were in the middle of transporting.
Yeah.
Oh, cool, we got that.
How many are in those things? Oh, right, yeah.
Did our life actually...
I was gonna say these bonus stages are kind of meaningless, but lives are pretty useful. Even if you did 100 of them first.
Mostly the difficulty does, ramp?
I mean, not... Oh, I'm not gonna say I'm an expert on this game, even though I've played it a fair bit. As far as I remember, the difficulty curve is apt. It's no complaints there.
Yeah, yeah.
And there's other things to complain about. But don't miss that checkpoint!
Yeah. as a kid, I always thought these were supposed to be like spaghetti.
Oh,
They don't really look yarny.
see
Oh
that.
wow, it's this boss again.
Yeah, get used to that.
That's threatening.
That is surprisingly hard to do. They're surprisingly hard to beat because it moves around very fast and the controls are the way they are. Especially because you bounce off the side of it even when you hit it, so...
Well, it worked for Clint.
Yeah, this is totally Western music, right?
I don't really question that, yeah.
A lot of the music in this game just feels somewhat unfitting. Like, especially that invincibility music is like, sounds more like something menacing.
I wonder if the SNES version sounds a bit better.
Not
Well,
necessarily.
I mean, it does sound better. I would say this is a case where I would actually say this SNES version is a little bit better with the sound. This doesn't really lend itself to FM sound. So I'm wondering if these instruments, maybe this does sound a little bit more Western in the SNES version.
I can't remember. I know the next area does sound a bit better. The
It
instruments.
sounds... I suppose if I'm listening for it, it could be like sort of Mexican-y music. With some of the instruments. I don't know, it's kind of weird. I suppose if I heard this out of context, I would probably come up with a completely different conclusion.
You know, this just sounds like video game music.
Yeah. It's that strange art to chip, like specifically like chip tune music, and especially like something like FM or 8-bit square waves, where you can't really do instruments, and then you're just left wondering what the hell genre it even would count as.
I just want to point out how nasty it is that it keeps hiding the enemies behind, like, the foreground. So,
Yeah.
like, and again, like, you jump at the enemy at the wrong angle, then suddenly you're dead. So, yeah, you get weirdly kind of, like, stuck in your landing animation on that ledge. It's kind of scary.
I like this level conceptually, like the moving train thing, although you've got to do it 3 times, so the novelty gets a bit less each time.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure if it's this level, but
I know
I
what you're
know
gonna
there's a
say.
point. Yeah.
The last time I
There's a
played this
check-
game, I actually got, I got foiled by this.
So yeah, I can confirm. Yarn balls do not give you extra lives. It's just all those floating 1 and 2 shirts, I think.
I guess I was just making shit up. So there's a let's just say it. There's a checkpoint that spawns an enemy on top of it. So if you die in a specific area, having triggered that checkpoint, you
You
it's like a
hyper
soft
die.
reset. It's like a soft reset. You can't.
Yeah, they
You-
just
you-
they have a enemy
trap.
placement on top of the checkpoint, and they don't bother to clear the enemy when you respawn there. So you are actually just you're in a death
You have to
loop.
reset the game.
Yeah. The last time I played this game, I accidentally got caught on that, and just that into my run.
Goodbye, checkpoint.
What are those boxes supposed to be? Well, it's a very spring yard zoney with those boulders.
Yeah. I never questioned it, but yeah, what the fuck are those things?
Parallax sand.
The game's got some decent production values. I wouldn't knock it for that. I wouldn't say it's an ugly game.
Oh,
I think
yeah,
with the animations and like the death animations, they really also want to be like the Virgin Interactive, you know, the Interplay sort of guys, the ones who did Aladdin and Global Gladiators, you know, the people who did those, well, not Global Gladiators, but the ones who did the Earthworm Jim, the nice animated one,
yeah.
nice animated games that look like good representations of cartoons.
I guess they were supposed to be clownlets because they're different in this stage.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're different every level.
It's weird they have this sort of animation I called an attack earlier. I don't know what you describe it as. They're just like blowing a raspberry at you or something.
Yeah, it's not an attack, it's just like a stupid animation.
But they all do it. It's weird. I used this track in that Far Cry video.
Oh yeah, I used the carnival music for one of my mooching tournaments.
Oh yeah.
The first one, if I'm not mistaken. Is a box pushing puzzle?
I've never seen this before. Also, I like
No,
that
neither have I.
it just falls instantly, which is pretty good.
That's the Havoc physic engine for you.
These like underground mazes where you can't even see where the tunnels are is pretty annoying.
I would say Bubsy's theme is not bad.
Oh yeah, I like this theme. I think the compositions are fine. Sometimes the instruments can be a little weird, but
Yeah.
16-bit.
There's people who knew how to make unique FM instruments, and then there are the people who just didn't bother. You see, you run like that, and it's fun to run fast, but then you're never really sure. Slow down there. You're never sure if there's going to be an obstacle. You know, you'll think, oh, I think this is the end, and then you get flattened, or you run into a literal cactus or something. Is he on top of the hood?
He is.
Go ahead, make my day.
Wait a minute, they did the movie references backwards. Fistful of Dollars came before Good, the Bad, and the Ugly.
Discovered a flaw with this game.
Yeah, I'm surprised. Now I'm curious if the third level of this one is, you know, the other part of the Dollars trilogy. Of course you know that's Again, you've got just a small reminder, you have to glide, because there is fall damage. And by fall damage, you mean fall death.
Yeah. There's also, I don't think we saw it, there's like the giraffes with the sunglasses. If you jump on their head, they kind of like spring you upwards.
Yeah.
And again, if you jump at them at the side, they'll just kill you. That's why I said it was so surprising that there was something in this game that doesn't kill you. It's because everything else does. Like,
yeah, a lot of things you wouldn't expect either.
Yeah, anything that you look at funny will kill you. And stuff that, like, helps you will also just kill you if you don't use it correctly.
It's kind of dumb, I keep forgetting how there's a weird dinosaur thing.
I don't know what that thing is.
I keep thinking this is like a technical accomplishment, but it's really just a normal tile-based level with a scrolling background. I mean, that's it. I don't know why. It's a good effect, I guess.
I mean, it works.
It's a weird thing to include. Like cheese.
There's this, like, very, like, childish nature to the very first level being cheese wheels of doom. It's like, alright.
Yeah.
They do this, yeah, every time.
Should have done it for like one act.
Does that cactus kill you?
Yes.
Tell me it kills you.
Of course it does. He does like this, like inflation thing when he gets hit by it. He like bursts and then flies off.
Pops, yeah.
Yeah. This isn't like the most shocking or interesting observation, but it's interesting. Oh, land shark. I don't remember those stalactite things.
Yeah.
They have put a lot of like animations and like not physics, but you know what I mean. Like the yarn balls for a generic collectible tend to move around a lot. You don't really get that with like Mario coins and Sonic Wings.
I was noticing
look
there's
at
a
me.
lot of like variants of them, despite the fact that they all function the same way. Like there's those
Yeah.
ones that like move around with like actual physics.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah.
They have different colors. Like there's some that strobe different colors. Some of them are faster and slower. Some of them are static colors. So they like went really creative with them for something that is just here's points.
I guess it is plot relevant. Oh, that's how ladders in games work, right? Is that even a ladder? What's your favorite like video game kind of level theme?
That's very hard to pinpoint, I think. Do you have
I
one?
think no, but I'm like thinking about the ones we've seen so far. You got your generic kind of grassy kind of plain levels. That's kind of a standard. That's always
one.
yeah, that's always a good place to start. I don't know why. Like Sonic Advance 3 starting in a city always offended me. I don't know. It just seems wrong. Got to start in like a grassy kind of natural area. I don't know why. It's like the law. I like the carnival level. I think carnival levels are a pretty safe bet.
Yeah.
Can't really think of too many bad carnival levels. Desert levels?
This
You'd
is
have some fun
specifically the
kinda-
Western Desert.
Yeah, I mean, you have like, you can easily bring in like Western things in it to spice it up and sort of like, yeah, Wild West, and sometimes you do Mexican things as well.
Yeah.
It seems to be doing that as well.
Sometimes you just have a desert.
Yeah, I'm not biggest fan of desert levels. Sonic Mania had an alright one, but I wouldn't say it's my favourite level. They did spice it up with combining it with Sky Cheese.
Right.
I don't think this game has an ice level. Those can be very atmospheric, although if you get like shitty ice physics, that can be bad.
They're like... They must have programmed a lot into the physics, so... Don't know if they wanted to add more work giving ice to their physics.
No, not to spoil it, the next two worlds are both just kind of forest themed. Like, they have their own unique stuff, but they are just more grassland. It's kind of weird.
It's interesting, yeah. Oh god, he's got another one of these. I think these levels being split into two makes them feel a lot longer.
Well, yeah, because neither of them are, like, neither part is very short, so it feels like you're playing 6 levels.
Yeah, it does. Does it remind me of Dances with Woolies? Okay, that is not a Sergio Leone dollars film. That is a film of Dances with Wolves. That is, yeah. You screwed up.
How dare you, Bubsy?
Not stupid now. It's Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. A Fistful of Dollars. What's the other one? I've actually gone blank on it.
$2 more, maybe?
Yeah, a few dollars more. That's it. Yeah. Thank you.
Don't ask me how I know that, because
Yeah, pop culture.
I have no fucking clue.
I've seen The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. It's a good movie.
I think I've seen one Western? It was the one that you showed me.
Nice. I like that movie a lot, but I would not use that as a standard for Western.
No, absolutely not.
The Quick and the Dead is a borderline a comic book movie it's not literally based on a comic, but it is cartoony as hell.
For sure.
I love it, but it's not. I would not use that as your reference point for Westerns.
Oh, I know. It is funny though. That is the one. That
It is funny. It's got a lot of crazy characters in it. More of a ornament movie than anything else. Except it's gunslinging rather than martial arts.
Right.
I don't know if we've really seen it yet, but you can jump on the cheese wheels.
Yeah.
It's always a gamble, like what you can and can't jump on.
I feel like you can jump on top of most things as long as they don't have spikes.
Yeah, that's fair.
It's just you can't hit, again, just the weird angle. As long as you're not touching the side of it, you're fine.
All those little dinosaurs just like scurrying around, and their shading is completely different from everything else.
I always thought they were like chickens with no feathers. I had no
I
idea.
can't tell.
They move around so quick, and it's just, I don't know.
I'm not confident calling them dinosaurs. It's very hard to see them in this video. Yo, that's fair. Like, that's the sort of thing you will typically die to.
What the hell is that? It's like a pig nose, but it's covered in spikes?
It's like an armadillo or something? I don't know.
No, that's the second game.
Huh. 40 lives.
You know what they say about cats, they have 40 lives.
Yes. That's a bobcat.
Oh, yeah.
The HUD is having a bit of problems here.
Oh, yeah.
Particularly the time.
It's the sprites are...
Why are they? Look at their faces, that's so weird.
I don't know. The sprites are like going over the HUD, even though it's very strange.
The foreground elements are going over the HUD.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's specifically because of Bubsy's sprite. It's like very weird.
See, you move a little bit and then like you just get killed by a tumbleweed or something. Or that bird, like if you just got shot back up into it. I just want to like enforce just how easy it is to die. Because you're not seeing it in this video,
Yeah,
but...
you always miss it with long plays where they actually, you know, I assume just edit out deaths.
They have to be edited out. It's just, even if you're really good at this, you're gonna... Again, you start with 9 lives, which is a lot.
It doesn't help. Bubsy is just not a character. He's one of those one-liner machines. Wait, why is there...
What?
Okay.
This game just has no rules. Yeah, oh no, he's not a dynamic, interesting character. He has personality, but I wouldn't call him a good character. I mean, this is a game with personality. I think that's the tagline of the second game.
I was
The
saying,
accolade.
like, he's like not very interesting. I feel like the marketing was a lot more annoying than the character is. He's just kind of whatever. He just kind of says stuff occasionally, but eh. But it's like the fucking claws and counters of the fur
Look at that.
kind.
Oh my god, that
Ugh.
is so bad looking.
Yeah. I think a lot of the meme stuff as well is pulled from that Rob Paulson cartoon pilot. Because that is easy to pick apart. That is a very cheap, kind of generic cartoon. Still seems, I would still say, maybe a notch better than that Battletoads pilot, which just seemed like absolute nonsense.
I can't say I've seen either. Just avoid them for some reason. I don't know why. Oh yeah, the
Oh,
music
hey,
for this
someone's
fight is just yeah.
They have jaws on their heads.
Yeah,
They're
these,
supposed to be like space helmets.
yeah, these are enemies
I know,
from a later
I know.
level. This is Cowboys and Aliens. Gotcha. Cowboys versus Alien.
Wow, this looks terrible.
I think it's and. I don't know. I've never seen it. One way to back up points, I guess.
I love just the full name of this game. Like, it isn't just Bubsy.
No, it's not.
Bubsy and Claws Encounters of the third kind.
Hey, we spent an entire evening making puns out of every movie we could think of.
Did you see that shit?
Yeah, I saw. I don't know what that was.
Bubsy looked at the photoepileptic sky, had a seizure, and died. I don't know what this theme is. Referring to both the level and the whatever this music is.
It's like
What are they eggs? What is that?
The world's weirdest cliff face? Well, there's a pencil eraser on a tree, so...
Yeah, it's Earthbound.
The level theme is just logging.
Oh.
The word logging.
Yeah. Yeah, because first level's like green plains, it's like a forest.
There's a river and there's like some shit you ride on. Raft, that's the word I was looking for.
What are those eggs in the background? Well, they're not eggs like perfectly spherical. It's like a dam, but with rocks? I'm overthinking this, but like,
Yeah.
I want to know what they were trying to draw.
They're like, screw it, let's get creative.
Nobody said no. I honestly forgot about this level. I was actually thinking of the following world.
I actually forget how many worlds are in this, but...
I think there's... The next one's like the Beanstalk level. I can't think if there's another one. I don't know if we're going straight to space after that.
Yeah, it's,
Okay. So, we were talking about level themes earlier, and this game has like 3 kind of grassy nature areas.
right,
So that's like half.
Well, I mean, you got plains versus forest here.
I know that, I know they're different, but there is a bit of overlap.
Plains versus forest sometimes comes up quite a bit, honestly.
Well,
I agree they are different, I'll say that much, but I don't know, like, you can do
you see
with a
the
good
next
city
world.
level.
it's like, alright, went from greens to forest, and then...
Next world.
The music's freaking out a bit. Just realised I've never really listened to this piece of music for this long before. Usually if I ever try replaying this game for whatever reason, it usually stops at the desert. Either from difficulty or me I just stop caring. I'm like, why am I not playing something else? Not the worst game ever, but like, there's better games I could be playing.
Oh, I'm glad I'm over here. Oh, now I'm glad I'm over here. Non-reversible doors, let's do this.
Let's go back even further. There you go, I have a bonus for that bullshit.
Yeah, no, it is a very flawed game. It just isn't the worst game ever.
No, it's just hyperbole on the internet is a thing.
Oh, backwards more? Cool. Oh, checkpoint, cool.
I didn't know there was more level to go backwards in.
Right. Let's go back some more.
I mean, this is clearly a Metroidvania at this point.
I can't wait till the Bubsy gets added to Archipelago. Oh yeah, that switch, like, lowered the water level somehow.
Oh, right. Worth it for those 3 crates.
It's amusing, because they did put, like, a lot of effort into, like, designing the level to have, you know, just some unique stuff in it. Like this whole water level area where you can come down here just to get some extra bonuses. Very beginning of the stage. It's like, that's neat.
Not worth it.
Yeah. It's just kind of there to be something to do.
Hi, Gamera.
This level theme is like... What is it, like a forest retreat, you know, like if you like a fishing trip or something? Like a log cabin kind of...
Yeah, yeah.
Outdoorsman kind of theme. Yeah, I mean, you're right about logging. Oh, that's a checkpoint we saw about 2 hours ago. This music is... This is annoying music. Oh, right, okay.
Oh, the massive backwards door was right in front of the exit.
Ah.
I can't lie to you, I'm so used to this game that I'm like, I'm sure people find this game annoying, like the music specifically. It's like, I understand people don't like it, but I'm so used to it, I'm just like, yeah.
No, I'm kind of there with you. I'm just trying to be a bit more... I'm just trying to think of this a bit more openly.
No, yeah, I get
Not
it. Like,
openly, but I'm like trying to think like judging the jumping on a tree branch is a catapult. Like I'm used to that. I don't question it, but I'm like, actually, for the sake of someone like watching this like for the first time, I've got to like, I really should acknowledge that.
no, I got you, yeah. I remember whenever you jump off of those little water segments, you're in that like, I don't know, spinning animation. You, like, can't go into the glide. So if you manage to jump off and go into freefall, you're dead.
Yeah.
I don't want to make it, yeah, like, I don't want to make it sound like this game is, like, in any way good. It's just...
It's a fringe case.
Yeah.
I mean, the point, like the reference I would want to make is like, okay, you could say this might be partly be nostalgia, but I would counter that by saying that the second game is objectively bad.
Oh, yeah.
Like that is legitimately one of the worst games I've ever played. Like that is borderline unplayable.
I've also played just way worse games on.
Oh,
Oh, wait,
fucking
we got first
owned.
death.
I get a stunt cat.
Yeah, next time we'll get a stunt cat.
It's like Stun Man, but it's cat.
Yeah, obviously a reference to what was that PS2 game? I think it was maybe my Midway, or maybe I think it's something else. Maybe I think it's Spy Hunter. No, wait, that death made it in.
Yeah, yeah, that's a very good
Like,
indication.
I've been playing legitimately. This is Bubsy God.
Like this, that attack in particular, like there's no sound for it or anything. It's a small projectile, so.
Didn't we jump up into it too?
Yes.
And get...
Yes.
Yeah.
That is a natural.
And then we saw the enemy, and then the projectile in the back of our heads.
Umairomu Shinderu.
You know, we saw the enemy after it had killed us.
This level, something about this level seems more evocative of Bubsy 2. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's...
Music's a little more discordant, and
Yeah, and some of the enemies, like the theming's a little bit all over the place. Not as much, but and some of the enemy placement. Oh, he wanted to die. I don't know, just looking at that fish like flying on nothing, and I get it was a flying fish. I guess that's the guy, but it's just it's weird placement. I'm like, yeah, this is reminding me of Bubsy 2 a little bit more.
Well, maybe that the flying fish seems like just kind of a weird placement when they place the enemy for both water and not water.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot of that in Bubsy 2. Why is that animated? Oh, it's the yarn ball. I thought they like that one tree was like, oh, they actually animated the branches and the wind, but no, there was a green yarn ball in front of it.
Yeah, that was a bunch of camouflage yarn balls. I was about to mention on how hidden they were.
As I was saying, like, there's so many.
No, underlevel.
There's so many worse games on 16-bit consoles that.
This is still playable.
Yeah, it's playable. It has some nice things in it, so it's just. It is what it is. A very flawed, fine game.
That's why I keep mentioning Bubsy 2. What? I keep mentioning Bubsy 2 because it's not even like the worst Bubsy game, the worst 16-bit Bubsy game, you know? So it has like the worst game ever when like its immediate sequel is way worse, you know?
That tree could kill you, by the way, the purple one. Yeah. It's got
It
spikes
looks
on
spiky enough for me.
Yeah, but it's still a
Maybe
gamble.
I'm just paranoid.
I mean,
Should
you
be
would
if
be
you
by
did
the time you get to this point in the game.
Yeah, exactly. And take in mind you've got to use up a whole life to find out otherwise. It's not like, oh, I just took a little bit of damage. I mean, that's the one thing. I don't know if we're going to do Bubs 2. So I'm like, okay. Well, I won't talk about it
I
too
mean,
much.
we've already hyped it up too much.
Yeah, alright, fair enough. We did try playing it once.
I owned, I don't know if I owned this game and the second game on Genesis, and then I owned Bubsy 3D. And I have beaten them.
Don't even know how I managed to.
I like how 3D is the infamous one, and you're just like, yeah, no, 2. How did you even do that?
I never played, yeah, well... 3 looks like crap, but it looks playable. I don't know. I can't say I played it. Like, it looks like crap, but at least you can tell what's going on, I guess.
What? Did he do...
What
He
the fuck?
paused in a weird place, too, so I think the Lung player did this on purpose.
What the fuck?
I don't remember that boss either. That was some weird shit.
Alright. That is not supposed to happen.
That's it, I'm out of here. Fucking speeding up time.
You know, some of his lines are actually, you know, apt.
So,
I just meant after whatever the fuck happened there.
Oh, yeah. So yeah,
grassy level number 3.
Yeah, went from grass to like river forest to just forest.
Kind of, yeah, it's a different kind of forest, but like, yeah,
It's
now
like-
we're starting to split hairs.
I think it's like supposed to be like beanstalks, but maybe I'm just maybe my memory's making the game more interesting than it actually is.
Nah, I just remember being forest. It's
Yeah.
at night.
Something else I want to point out as well when this is done. So, like, I kind of feel like even with the foreground and the nature theme, you can mix things up a bit more. All 3 of these grassy levels have the same kind of purple mountains in the background as well. Like, that doesn't help. You could have varied that up a bit. I mean, they look different, but it's the same color scheme in the background. Is this night? This seems kind of like dusk.
Yeah, point. In my memory, it's night, but yeah, this is, yeah.
Yeah, it's like, did nobody say, look, just do an ice level or something, you know?
Yeah, because it's not like they're reusing assets here. They just came up with the same kind of theme over and over again.
I still think it's a shame because I do like that carnival level, you know? They could have done more than that.
Yeah.
Also adding to the chronicles of what the hell genre is this music? Oh, right, we got the bucket shit from the carnival level, okay.
Yeah, this world is kind of just vertically themed. It's a lot of, like, just climbing up and around, and, what's weird because, at the very least in this level, if you fall down, you don't die, assuming you don't take, fall damage, but you do have to go all the way back to the left at the very beginning to get, back into the level, so it's kind of worse than death?
Yep. And it's really hard to tell when you've missed something or not. Like a
Half this time, I had a hard time figuring out what is ground and what is not. Sometimes.
level, I praised the levels being big before, but this is getting like a detriment.
This level's definitely worse because of it.
Yeah. Again, you can't see where you're going, and if you run into something from off screen, you're dead.
If I remember
Especially
correctly-
jumping up. But jumping up is even worse. There's like less screen space between what's above you and what's to your left or right.
There's also a lot of doorways that just kind of take you away from where you want to go. So you've noticed we're avoiding a lot of them, and it's like, there's one on the very right there, and it's like, that can't take you anywhere good.
Never trust the doors.
What, and give up show business?
That was a statement.
Yeah, I
It
don't
had-
even-
It was said by a character.
I'm glad we have like experience of this game, because if you were just like watching this, you'd just go like, "Wow, this game's easy. Look, 50 lives."
I am considering doing another long play for a recording purposes for
Yeah.
Bubsy 3D. I'm not
Okay.
doing it for the second game because I don't need a refresher on that game. But I do feel like 3D is a game that like you kind of need to experience to really fully grasp just how it is.
How long is it?
To get the true form.
Probably a couple hours.
Okay.
Just pretend you're making checks in there for me.
Is it me or the levels just getting progressively worse, like more poorly designed?
I think it's to get more ambitious and difficult, and that turns into poor design.
Yeah, it's just a matter of making it like harder to get around, so it's a lot less like coherent. Like the
And
carnival
also-
levels have like kind of a progression to them. The way like both the upper and the lower areas are like, different platforming challenges, whereas these levels are just, here is just a maze without walls, essentially.
Yeah, and a lot more of the big thing with the river switch, and now here with like a bunch of verticality,
Yeah.
meaning platforms are just fucking everywhere.
Yeah. We didn't really see it in the last level. There's like the rafts that you ride on. They're like in little sections, and then like the alligator enemy will like swim up and then start biting it off and like shrinking it down. And of course you can't touch water. That's instant death. So you have to jump on the enemy to make it stop eating your raft, and then jump back onto the raft after it's gotten smaller. It's like, it's a cute idea, but damn, it's really nerve-wracking when,
Yeah.
any misjump, you're just dead.
I'll just end it, please.
Oh yeah, your momentum whenever you hit the end marker actually determines how much you...
I didn't know that.
Yeah, they were just
Makes
building
sense though,
speed.
in retrospect.
Somebody dial 911.
Okay, that made me laugh just because of the line reading. Somebody dial 911.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's gold, I'm just...
It's alright, it's okay.
I'm not
It's an
saying...
island in the storm.
Yeah. I'm surprised we're getting that much of discernibility from a vocal performance in 16-bit samples.
Yeah. And now there's these kind of bamboo platforms.
Is it supposed to be like an Asian forest? Is that what it's supposed to be, like bamboo and stuff? There's not really the trees in the background. They're not like conifers or anything.
It's definitely like I definitely noticed right away that it's like a different style of trees. Like in the real world, you would call this a very different kind of forest.
I might be able to discern what the theme is if this music was a bit more distinct.
Especially with the you know, the backgrounds is they're very cliffs, you know,
Oh yeah.
not flat land. It's just like a bunch of mountains.
With vegetation, yeah. But there's nothing else in this level to suggest it's like Asian themes. And you know, this game's not exactly going to be subtle about it, if that's what they were going for. So I don't know.
You know, I was about to say this was a more modest game than I remembered all the marketing. I was like, oh wait.
Well, to be fair, the people who make the game aren't necessarily the same people who do the marketing.
That's
That's
true,
an
yeah.
element.
I guess that's the sort of thing you can just try to enforce on fucking anything.
I do have this. I kind of feel like this level is one of those ones that all games are like tile. All platform games are kind of tile based. They're just tiles in front of a background that you can stand on. I feel like some levels kind of feel like believable ground, and I feel like that was the case for the desert, carnival, and opening levels. Because there's always like some kind of like naturalistic ground. This feels like the sort of level where there's just like random bullshit floating in the air. Does that make any sense?
Yeah. Again, like the first
Like
level
more video gamey.
Yeah, the first level of this world actually does have ground. Like there's actual just like grass.
Yeah.
But yeah, it just becomes just trees.
Yeah, it's just like
Things where you're
abstract.
looking at a kind of a real place versus looking at, you know, floating fucking Mario blocks.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Mario just kind of wears on its sleeve that everything's just kind of floating blocks.
Yeah.
Embraces it.
Whereas this had like the carnival level was definitely trying to be like evocative of a real place. I'm not saying this is, you know, a simulator, but
This music again.
It's our new boss theme.
I'm thinking this next version might actually have specific boss tracks. I could be wrong though.
Well, we had a couple of unique boss tracks. They just didn't bring them back for some reason.
Yeah, but I'm wondering if it had more, because
Probably.
this one's just throwing in a lot of placeholders.
Whoa, are you still playing this thing?
There it is.
We're
See-
still watching.
This is
That's-
one big ass level. This is not a world.
Going the whole like video gaming thing, it's like last level has to either be in space or at least kind of mechanical themed, like futuristic.
Right.
Well, I mean, given
Say
the
that,
plot they
that's
came
a-
up with.
No, I know that, and I'm also really just kind of talking Sonic here. I mean, Mario ends in like castles typically, right?
Yeah. Lava and castles.
Yeah.
I don't know why, I really like the animation where their like helmets break open for that one bit. Oh yeah, there's the seizure pools. If you fall in that, it plays
just-
like the melting animation, I think.
Yeah. No idea, because it's supposed to. It's hot. It's like a reactor, I guess.
Also, there are the woolies with like the stomach cannons or something.
That's bouncy. Yeah, sure.
Yeah. It looks totally bouncy.
The game needs more sound effects, I feel.
Yeah. Also the Also, they just kind of gave up with the background. There's no parallax. There's nothing here.
Actually, fuck, the first world actually has like a spring sound when you jump on the trees, so why doesn't it use it here or something?
I do believe
Actually,
it's...
would you get noticeable parallax in space, given how far away everything is?
Okay, oh right. I mean, I don't mean that that literally, but I remember just a more interesting background. It's just it looks like a Windows 98 tiled wallpaper.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
just thinking space is just kind of space sometimes, you know?
No, I got you. It's just
If I remember correctly, those like pods, you can go in this area early, and they're like the woolies are sleeping inside of them, and then you hit that switch and come over here, and they're like out of them. It's like kind of creepy.
I do think that the production values for the whole game have been kind of declining since World 1.
Yeah, they put the most effort into the thing that you're going to see the most of, I guess.
May make sense of a strong opening. I mean, just, you know, just ask the Sonic franchise that usually, ever since it went 3D, lead with the best level.
Yes, the first world of this game is the city escape of the Bubsy universe.
Yes. That we agree. When he finds a
Escape
bolt of
from the
this whole-
city, but every line has been turned into a pun.
This is kind of wacky music. This game never takes itself that seriously.
Yeah.
You know, like any momentum, and you're just like, oh, time to die.
It's like you can't stop on a dime like you have like the sliding animation or whatever.
Oh, this looks horrible.
Why do they have cannons and lightning bolts for ostensibly the same thing?
But yeah.
My god, jeez.
Okay, I never noticed they like react to the cannon firing like it's hitting them in the stomach. That's kind of funny.
Thank you. Pretty sure this is it. So what's the final boss? It's another random bullshit thing.
But it's got two heads.
It's fill the screens with projectile person.
Wow, that was actually way more disappointing than I remember. Maybe ran out of money.
Oh, it was like on a set or something?
Wow. I didn't realize Dynamite Head was such a freaking ripoff. He even did that whole like giant sprite ending. Thank you.
That looked like garbage. I don't know if it's a shame to say that I don't think I've actually beaten this game before.
I'm sure that background's supposed to be animated. Like, it has like a wavy effect, I'm sure of it. Is that an emulator thing, or am I just making shit up?
Might be a different game, either a different port or the sequel.
Maybe, although this is definitely the one I'm most familiar with. How many 16-bit games get a voice credit?